Investors, welcome back to Green Money Momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and we are here for Casual Friday here to wrap up the week. Friday's daily talk of stock. It looks like we already have one here in the live chat. Benjamin Graham Videos, thank you for being here today in the live stream. Great to always see some support here. Overall, we had another decently bloody day overall within the stock market. We had only 38% in the gaining category. We did see both of the major indexes of the S&P and the triple Qs finish in the red. We basically had a cold plunge to start the day in both of the major indexes and many different individual stocks. So across the entire broad market, we did see a sell-off to start the day, but this is really no surprise. As we have talked about many times on this channel, Fridays have been looking like this a lot most recently, because when we do look at where the dealers are hedged recently, we have been running into some major gamma walls. This right here is on the S&P, and you can see that the volume here where the strike price was heaviest today was at 677. So this is where a ton of gamma exposure lies. This is where the dealers are positioned, and with the concept of max pain in the options market, this is why recently, in my opinion, again, never financial advice, just my opinion, why I believe we have been seeing a lot of different stocks and these major indexes have a drop on Friday. When we do talk about gamma exposure, if you don't quite understand what I'm talking about, because it is kind of a more complex thought, gamma exposure is just a financial metric measuring the total net exposure of market makers to gamma across options contracts, which dictates how they hedge, impacting stock volatility and price movement. It reveals where dealers must buy or sell underlying shares. And so if you look at how the markets have been reacting most recently, there has been a lot of hedging at higher levels, and we have been seeing a lot of weekly options expire worthless. For this week, the main gamma was right around 677 for the SPY, but we could also look at the gamma on many different individual stocks. One I have talked about a lot most recently is Robinhood, which has been having a very hard time breaking past $80 and $85, and well, that is exactly where the gamma exposure is lying. So when we do look at how Robinhood did perform today, and when we do just look at the neckline in Robinhood, the major level of resistance most recently has been right around that $80 level, right where a lot of those dealers are positioned. So we just have not been able to break through that level. Same to be said when we look at Big Bear AI, which did also have a little bit of a sell-off today. When we do look at Big Bear, it finished right under $4, right under another major level of resistance and where a lot of gamma exposure is. If you look at the major strike price for this weekly's expirations, sitting right at $4.50 and also down at the $4 level. So a lot of gamma exposure right around $4.55 and then some around $4. And well, the market makers did their thing today as we saw all of those contracts expire worthless, and a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the air overall. A lot around Iran, the war that is going on, everything when it comes to oil. As we see here, the S&P fell to new low for a year on Iran oil crisis, posts third straight losing week. We have also seen the VIX rise significantly this year, up 87% year to date, and we have been seeing some higher lows and lower highs be built, and there is a ton of fear in the markets right now. We have a reading of extreme fear, a reading of 20 on the fear and greed index. So many are so fearful right now. We also did have some big numbers on the economic calendar today. We had GDP. We did see the number come in weak, 0.7. We also had the PCE numbers, which actually did come in right at about expectations. But when we do look at GDP, the fourth quarter GDP revision came down to just 0.7% growth. January core inflation was 3.1%. So not a positive. We know with the Federal Reserve, they want to see 2 when it comes to the percentage for that inflation. So GDP rose at a seasonally and inflation adjusted annual rate of just 0.7% in the fourth quarter. So some weak numbers here. The first revision of the GDP reading was a sharp step down from the previous estimate of 1.4% and well below the Dow Jones consensus forecast for 1.5%. And we've talked about the revisions before when it comes to the stock market. And I find it so funny when we do look at the economic calendar, because all the time, every single month, there is a ton of economic data released, but so often these numbers will be revised down in the future. And most times, at least in the recent memory, in the recent history here in the last year or so, many years actually, going all the way back to Biden's time, we have been seeing these numbers constantly get revised down. The core PCE inflation rose 0.4% in January and 3.1% on a 12-month basis. Economic growth was much slower than expected in the final 3 months of 2025, while core inflation rose. And so overall, there is a ton of fear and uncertainty and doubt in the air. So many are running for the hills, and the bears right now are louder than ever. But I will say exactly what I was saying last year in April when we had peak fear, uncertainty, and doubt, when so many were running for the hills, when we saw a lot of the same things, when we saw the major index trailing off, when we saw the VIX rising, when we saw everyone freaking out about tariffs, saying that the avocados were going to rise to extreme levels. Right now, the fear is mainly around oil, but the same things, economic pressures and recession concerns. But I'll say the exact same thing as I said last April, which was a great spot to be bullish, because I was bullish around this time when so many were saying that this was the end. And then we saw what was the most hated V recovery of all time, as so many were calling it. And that is that I am buying the dip. I am still very strong and faithful within the markets. And again, when we just look at the gamma exposure within the markets, there has been a lot of hedging by the dealers, but the markets cannot trail off forever. I do believe that we could see a bounce here very soon, but we are dealing with a lot of concerns in the market right now, especially around oil and then Iran. When we do look at oil today, oil had another decent day. The crude oil futures close to $100, again up 3% for the day. Another day, another trade, says happy Friday, boss man. Happy casual Friday. Great to see you here in the stream once again, my friend. Hi, Trevor. Hope you are having a great day. I am having a great day overall. David, I hope you are having a great day as well. I thank you for joining us from the United Kingdom. For everybody who is here in the stream, drop a comment in the live chat and let me know where you are coming out of today. Let me know where you are located at in the world. Are you in the United States? Are you outside of the United States like David here? But overall, a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the air. But again, I'm not too concerned. I was expecting a red Friday today. We have been seeing this a lot most recently, where we see the main price action for the bulls earlier in the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, even a little bit on Thursday. But then Fridays have been expiring and being bloody, just like we saw today. Again, we have a lot of options expiring every single Friday. There's been a ton of volatility within the markets. We got Benjamin Graham videos here saying he is from Boston. That is great. How is the weather out in Boston currently, Mr. Benjamin Graham? By the way, I love the book, The Intelligent Investor. So great to see that you have joined us here in the live stream today. Overall, let's take a look here at some individual tickers. Again, not really too much to talk about. The markets are kind of being boring right now with how flat they have been, but Robinhood has been having a very hard time breaking past that level of resistance right at about $80. I do believe if we really get past this level, not long ago, we reached up to 85, but if the dealers allow it, if they start buying back, we could break into new levels with Robinhood, get closer to that point of 100. In terms of technical analysis, though, one thing I don't like to see now, my favorite setup did happen most recently where we did see the oversold reversal. So we became very low on the relative strength index. We did see a bullish cross on the MACD, and then we started to see a little bit of momentum on the candlestick chart. But what I don't love with Robinhood here in the short term is, despite having this oversold reversal, despite the technicals looking nice, we did get that oversold reversal, but the right side of the V has not been too strong here. So if the pressures do continue within the markets, if the macros do stay a bit poor here, we could see this sideways consolidation break down once again. Just be aware that in Robinhood, we are currently in a downwards trend that has yet to be broken. But with Robinhood, I'll say what I always say. I am investing into this company for the long term, for the future. I have a very long-term vision with Robinhood. I am not at all concerned. This company right here has a ton of great fundamentals, just like this company right here, Big Bear AI. When we do look at the fundamentals with Big Bear, again, a lot of gamma exposure right around that $4 mark, 450 and 5 for this week. So there was a lot of resistance right around $4. Big Bear not able to break past that $4 mark this week. We have trailed off well under the 250-day moving average. Currently, we are beat down on the relative strength index. We did see a bullish cross on the MACD, but the exact same thing to be said with Robinhood. When we do look at the short-term technicals here, pretty weak. We did get those bullish crosses. There is technically a bit of an oversold reversal, but we are not seeing a strong recovery on the right side of this V. So where the markets are currently sitting at right now with a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, it's going to be funny, because this, no year is the exact same. But if we do see this trail off continue to April, it will be exactly like last year where the markets were chopping down till April. And then after that, we may see a strong recovery with Kevin Warsh officially taking the place of Jerome Powell. So it'd be very funny if we see exactly what we saw last year. I'm not exactly counting on that. I do believe, again, we've had a lot of pressure and resistance with both of the major indexes, but the markets cannot stay sideways and down forever. But it's going to be interesting to see what officially breaks the markets, what officially pushes us higher. I do believe that this year we are going to see a lot of quantitative easing with the Federal Reserve. I do believe that will happen once we do get Kevin Warsh in the place of Jerome Powell. But right now, I am not expecting for the Fed to be stimulative at this next meeting. Right now, a less than 1% chance that the Fed does cut, and getting the inflation numbers a bit hotter than expected, up to 3%. Also not a positive to see. So overall, when it does come to the Fed, I do believe at this next meeting, we will just get a push forward. That is what the probabilities are telling us as well. A 99% chance that we don't get any type of cut at this next meeting, but also no chance that we get a hike either, which is funny because at the last Fed minutes meeting, there was some talks of some potential hikes at that next meeting. So it doesn't look like we will be seeing this. This meeting is going to be in 4 days. So something to look at on the economic calendar for next week. The date is going to be, when is the exact date? It's going to be on March 18th. So something to look for next Wednesday. We will get a bit more into what to expect for this next week. Again, thank you all for being here today. For anybody who is watching the replay, or if this is your first time here, every single Sunday, we are going live 30 minutes before the overnight market opens. And so before all the futures and all of that opens for the stock market, we have been going live every single Sunday doing our weekly preparation for the stock market, everything we could expect to see for the upcoming week, because we do have a lot of interesting numbers and interesting things coming out next week. Again, with the most important being on Wednesday with the FOMC interest rate decision and the press conference shortly after from Jerome Powell. If you have been in the markets long enough, you know that when Jerome Powell talks, this could cause a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And anytime you get Jerome Powell gumming out there and saying good afternoon, that is when the markets oftentimes will have a sell-off. Again, the Federal Reserve is playing hardball right now, not doing what the president wants when it does come to interest rate cuts. And so I do expect that for this next meeting with Jerome Powell talking about President Trump. Let's see if he said anything on Truth Social today regarding anything around interest rates, Iran, anything like that. So it does look like we got a lot of different reposts from him. He was talking about Iran 16 hours ago. He said, we are totally destroying the terrorist regime of Iran militarily, economically, and otherwise. Yet, if you read the falling New York Times, you would incorrectly think that we are not winning. Iran's Navy is gone. The Air Force is no longer. Missiles, drones, and everything else are being decimated and their leaders have been wiped from the face of the earth. There is that fact that the supreme leader recently was taken out, and Iran does have a new one. But what is interesting here with President Trump's Truth Social here is he is talking about where is it here? Iran's Navy, missiles, drone, and everything else is to be disputed. Watch that happens to these deranged scumbags today. Economically, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, Iran's currency has been collapsing most recently. So this is also very interesting, especially on this channel. We've been talking a lot about the stable coin that is being talked about in Washington right now. And as I have said, a theory I have, again, never financial advice. This is just a thought of mine thinking what could happen with these nations such as Iran or Venezuela that do have these collapsing currencies. You know, with this big stablecoin bill coming, the genius bill that is being looked at in Washington right now, if that does get passed, that will be massive for cryptocurrency, putting a real one-to-one backing US dollar coin to US dollars, making these stable coins a lot more legit, adding a lot of real legal clarity to those. And so one of the stocks that we have been talking about most recently is Circle Internet Group, because it has been seeing some momentum. They did have a great earnings report. There was a gap that was opened up with Circle. It is looking a bit overextended on the relative strength index and the MACD, but what is very interesting is right now it is holding its gains, even being a bit overextended currently. And so what we do have to wonder with Circle Internet Group and just this big genius bill is if it is going to get passed here in the very near future, if it does officially get passed through Washington. And this is one of those plays that I consider to be a hot in play stock right now. A lot of momentum that has been going on with Circle Internet Group and cryptocurrency in general. When we look at Bitcoin right now sitting at 71,000, getting close to a major level of resistance at 75,000. So we have been moving up on Bitcoin on the relative strength index and the MACD. Again, I'll say exactly what I was saying about Robinhood and Big Bear earlier. In terms of technicals, we did see, again, my favorite pattern, the oversold reversal happen on Bitcoin. We are starting to move up on the candlestick chart, but one thing I don't like is we are moving up in kind of a weak fashion, not seeing super strong momentum on the candlestick chart, but moving up significantly on the relative strength index and the MACD. So that is not to say that we can't run higher with Bitcoin and with these other assets that have similar technicals, but usually when I like to see really strong reversals is when we do see the reversal here on these indicators, but then we see a strong right side of the V. Going back to an example where we did see this was Advanced Micro Devices all the way back here before we saw this massive gap when they opened that when they announced the OpenAI deal. We saw that strong bullish cross here on the MACD. We moved up significantly on the relative strength index, and we saw massive price action. Now, where AMD is sitting at a very interesting spot, because right now it is pinned in between the 50-day and the 200-day moving average, and it has still yet to fill this gap that was set all the way back in October, which is very interesting because with Advanced Micro Devices, you know, the whole gap was opened up with the OpenAI deal, and a lot of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that has controlled the market since October has been around technology, AI, you know, that entire sector. And so AMD fits perfectly in that sector of, you know, semiconductors, AI, technology, and that side of the markets. But the stock action has actually been decently strong, as we have still yet to fill this gap despite all the fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the air. Right now we are low on the relative strength index, and then we did just eke out a little bullish cross on the MACD. So we'll have to see if the strong momentum can continue. But with Advanced Micro Devices, Big Bear AI, Robinhood, SoundHound, basically any assets that we talk about, I do believe that they are running a lot off the macros right now. The markets are really focused on everything that is happening out in Iran, everything with oil, and also with the hard metals. I am still very bullish on the hard metals despite having some choppy movements here in the sideways. When we do look at silver here, it has been chopping sideways. We are in the middle on the relative strength index, and we are consolidating on the MACD, but things were recently super bullish with silver. So we'll have to see if the hard metals get some bullish momentum here once again in the very near future. We have EQ had a good run today. Hey, Two Wheels Pursuit, great to see you here once again in the live stream. You have been in the last couple, and in the last one you did send a super chat, so thank you so much. Let's take a look here at William. Wow, my friend, you are right. I'm going to say, I think what I said yesterday, congratulations on the gains. Another big day with this ticker. You were just talking about this yesterday, and up 20%, so a massive move here in EQ. Congratulations on the gains, my friend. John Hibbs, thank you for joining us here in the live stream. You have been one of my longest subscribers here on the channel. So crazy. Going back all the way to 2024, I was seeing your comments all the way back then when I had less than even 200 subscribers. So great to see you here in the live stream for Casual Friday's daily talk of stock, John. Let's take a look here at BitMine Immersion, heavily influenced by Ethereum right now at $20.67. When we do look at the 1 year in terms of technical analysis, we have been very flat with this ticker, well under the 50-day and the 200-day moving average, currently flat on the relative strength index and the MACD. But of course, BitMine Immersion does move a lot off of Ethereum. In the short term, Ethereum was bucked out of a bullish trend towards the upside. We have fallen significantly on Ethereum. Ethereum right now, right at the 50-day moving average, right at the middle on the relative strength index, and then pushing up on the MACD. You know, all of crypto is very correlated. So I'll say the same thing with Ethereum that I was saying with Bitcoin. We are starting to see some recovery here, but still very slow. So we'll see if Ethereum, if Bitcoin, if all these cryptocurrencies can hold their gains. What I will say in the positive, so it is a negative in my opinion that we aren't seeing a stronger recovery here with Bitcoin and these cryptos, but one positive is we did make the lows back in the early part of February, and there was the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that was really sparked after the Iran war was confirmed shortly after, but we did not make a lower low in Bitcoin. So let's see if Bitcoin can reach 75,000 and if we could see more bullish momentum in the crypto sector of the markets. Any opinion on Roblox? I think that is what that is, right? RKLB. Oh, Rocket Lab Corporation. Yeah, Will, thank you for joining us here in the live stream. This is the first time I have seen your name in terms of technical analysis. So if this is your first time, thank you for joining us today. But in terms of technical analysis, you know, it is looking pretty bullish on the candlestick chart. It is jumping higher. We have had some higher lows, some lower highs be built, and overall, it is on an ascending trend. Right now, a little bit under the 50-day moving average, right in the middle on the relative strength index, and then we are kind of flat on the MACD. So Rocket Lab is not really a ticker that I have covered. Now, I am into technology. I am into small caps. I am into robotics. I am into AI, but I just really haven't focused too much on the space sector of the markets. But I know many are bullish on this sector. There are a lot looking at it, especially with the potential that we do get the SpaceX initial public offering later this year. That may be tokenized. That may be through Robinhood's fund. We just talked about this the other day. So Robinhood's fund, the Robinhood Venture Fund that just came out recently, this is a fund where you could invest into these companies that haven't actually had IPOs, so private companies. So a very interesting index fund by RVI. But when it does come to the space sector of the markets, again, a market that I don't really focus on. But let's take a look here because, again, I know many are bullish on Rocket Lab. I do believe that they do have some ascending quarterlies. So let's see how they actually are doing in terms of quarterlies. So they have been accelerating in quarterly. So when it does come to revenue, that is looking positive. Earnings per share has been decent. You know, they did beat expectations last time set by Wall Street. Their next earnings, it doesn't look okay. It looks like it is in 55 days. So in May. So in terms of investing, if you are investing into Rocket Lab for the long term, the company is looking like they are producing great quarterlies right now. It does look like they are getting better in terms of what they are doing. A lot of innovation around space. And their next earnings is going to be in May. So if you were looking for a big trade, just look at those earnings calendars in April and May. Things are really going to be kicking off. Maybe Rocket Lab might be a big opportunity come this month, especially because we are going to officially get Jerome Powell out of here, and that is going to excite many investors. Hey, Kristen the mom, thank you for joining us here. Thumbs up. You are always giving thumbs up. You are always commenting on the videos. You are always showing support. So thank you for being here once again in the live stream. Friday's daily talk of stock. The next time we are going to be live is going to be on Sunday. So I hope to see you there on Sunday as well. Bitcoin hit 72K on the 72nd day of the year, March 13th. Hey, that is very interesting. Two Wheels Pursue. Thank you for that right there. You know, that's interesting because that brings me into a thought of has anybody ever heard of the moon cycles and like the stock market theory? Let's take a look. Moon phases in trading, a deep dive, because, you know, many do believe in this right here. And that is understanding the moon phases indicator. There are four main components are of interest when it comes to using moon phases in trading and financial forecasting. So new moon occurs when the moon is between the earth and the sun. First quarter moon, the moon is half illuminated and growing. The full moon, the entire face of the moon is illuminated, and the moon is half illuminated and shrinking. And so using moon phases in trading, astro traders use this indicator in conjunction with traditional tools like moving averages, RSI, and MACD to reinforce their strategies. Others use them in raw form. Take a look at the following chart. Green circles mark full moons, while red circles mark red circles. Additionally, waxing phases are green in the background and waning phases are red. So this is just going off, you know, what type of moon phases there are. And so it's interesting what you said right there, Two Wheels Pursue, because when it does come to gematria, when it does come to numbers coding, when it does come to moon cycles, when it comes to astrology, there are many different theories in the markets, and many do believe in the cycle of the moon phases and trading again when there is like a full moon. I have also seen others talk about the theory of the cycles with like the McRib from McDonald's. So yeah, that is interesting about Bitcoin hitting 72K on the 72nd day of the year, March 13th. Thanks, man. Been watching your content for a couple weeks and love your videos. Will, thank you again for the compliments. I'd be curious, how did you initially see my content? Did it just pop up on a recommendation here on YouTube? Was it a specific ticker that I was talking about? Like, are you a fan of Big Bear AI, Robinhood, Circle Internet Group? I'm just curious to how you found my channel. We are still a new channel overall, so we are relatively new here. Right now, we are currently under 3,000 subscribers, but we have been putting a ton of work into this channel. So I really appreciate all of your support. Everybody who is here today, everybody who is watching after this stream has ended and watching the replay, because I have a lot of big growth expectations for this channel. I really want to grow this channel to something great. I have done some lives in the past, but I really just started to do these lives a lot more often 3 weeks ago, and so many big plans for this channel. Planning on doing a lot of live day trading in the future and more vlogs. If you guys have ever seen my vlog when I went out to Washington, D.C., that was a lot of fun. I'll show that here later in the stream in a bit if you guys have not seen that. But that is when we went to the inauguration. So right now we have just been doing the daily videos. We have just been doing the live streams like we have been most recently, but I'm going to do many more vlogs here in the future, and this channel is going to grow a lot. So I'm telling you guys right now, this is really only the beginning of Green Money Momentum, and everybody who is here right now, you get that OG ticket because you are an OG right now, while we are currently under that 3,000 4,000 mark on green money momentum. There's RVI here on the screen. But yeah, thank you again, Will, for being here. And Norris, thank you. Hey, my friend, great to see you here. You were here a couple live streams ago, and now you are here once again. I always think of Elton John when I hear about Rocket Lab. I'm a rocket man. That song right there, is that Elton John who sang that? I'm a rocket man. Man, that brings me back to childhood. You know, it's like funny how different songs can bring you to different time frames in your life. It's like you know, you're saying the Rocket Man, that brings me back to being a young kid. Also, hey there, Delilah, what's it like in New York City? And wake me up when September ends. I'm sure that's how so many have been feeling about the markets most recently. Wake me up when January ends. Wake me up when February, when March ends. Wake me up when the markets are bullish once again. Been following Big Bear AI for a while, so that caught my eye. Well, that is awesome to hear. Again, I have just been doing some organic posting here on YouTube, but plans are to make the channel a lot bigger in the future. I'm going to do many more YouTube shorts. I'm going to be on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, you know, maybe on some other streaming sites as well. I really look forward to when I do go full time with this in the future. Nora says, happy birthday, Trevor. Well, hey, my birthday is many, many months away, but you know what? I will tell my brother happy birthday because he just turned a year older yesterday. Yesterday was his birthday. So I'm going to say that you said happy birthday to my brother. So Norris, thank you for wishing my brother a happy birthday. My birthday is much later in the year, November 27th. Interesting fact about me, I was actually born on Thanksgiving Day. So I'm a Thanksgiving baby. It doesn't always happen that way where my birthday does land on Thanksgiving because it is the last Thursday of the month, but about every 7 years I will have my birthday on Thanksgiving, which is pretty cool. This last year I had a cake that had a turkey in it, or like a turkey shaped cake. And it was shaped like a turkey, but it had cake in it. And that was pretty fun. I always think of Rocket Mortgage. Yeah. Hey, the Lord of Swords. Great to see you here in the live stream as well. Hi, Trevor. What's your opinion on the market next week? Do you think the S&P will drop to 6530 mark or below? Well, let's take a look here. I got the SPY on the screen, but we'll pull up the actual S&P here, the S&P index. Let's see what it's currently at. 6632. Do I think it will drop back down to 6530? Let's take a look at where that exact level of resistance would be here, or that exact level, that exact mark level, I should say. So let's draw out 6530 right here. So Andres, thank you for being here in the stream today. So this is quite a level of support here. You know, I could see the markets potentially breaking down to this level before we do get a bounce off of this level. I could definitely see that, just a rollover right back to this point back in November, and then potentially a push up. You know, when it does come to pushing up in the markets, you know, many times it does come when there is a lot of capitulation in the markets, when there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and many times before you move up, you got to really move down and shake out a lot of investors. Right now, we do have a lot of fear within the market. So it is a possibility that we do return back down to this level, just like in the NASDAQ. It is a possibility that we return back to the levels back in December, but we will just have to see. I don't want to give out an exact price target or say exactly what will happen with the S&P, but we do have a lot of fear going into next week. We'll talk more about what is on the economic calendar for this next week on Sunday's live stream, but we do have the Fed talking on Wednesday. And as investors, we all know as soon as that guy, Jerome Powell, says good afternoon, many times it does crash. So we will just have to see. Only time will tell. We'll just have to see how the markets open up this next week. But a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the air. But as I said in the title here, I am also very hopeful and very optimistic. The further we fall on the fear and greed index, the further into extreme fear that we fall, the more I get into a personal level of extreme greed. The S&P could bounce off of the 200-day moving average. That is very possible. We are very close to that 200-day MA right now, which sits just slightly above the level that Andres was talking about right here. So there is the chance that we don't quite make it quite to this level, but we do get a bounce off of this level and then eventually start to move up once again. But overall, I don't have the highest expectations for the market right now. I have been buying the dip, but also remaining patient. With my dip buying, I have a long-term vision with everything I am buying. I am buying some leaps going out to 2027, 2028. The shares that I am buying in plays such as Robinhood, I am holding for the long-term future. I wouldn't doubt that we could see a break lower as we've been seeing some consolidation. But again, this is sitting as a major level of support here in the short term. In general, I do believe the markets are going to be a lot more bullish in 2026 as well, but maybe not until we officially get Jerome Powell out of here, until he gets ejected, until Donald Trump says, too late, get the heck out of here. Latvia. Oh, okay, Andres, are you responding to my question earlier about where everyone is at? So yeah, if you just joined us here in the live stream, everybody comment here on the side chat or down below, depending on whether you're watching on mobile or on desktop, and let me know where you are located at in the world. We had a Boston earlier, Latvia here with Andres. I think Andres partnered with Palantir. I made good profits this morning, but lost because of greed. What happened with that, Norris? Were you in early on here when there was a pump in the early mornings before we saw the cold plunge? Were you riding well here in the pre-market to early market session before we saw the cold plunge, which again, we have seen so many Fridays now. The dealers have been depressing the markets on Friday, letting a lot of options expire worthless, really creating a max pain. I'm happy though that you did bring up Ondas, because I actually was going to talk about Ondas. I know you guys are really enjoying the live streams. We have 11 here, so thank you to everybody who is here, by the way. I really do appreciate that, because if many weren't here, I would have no reason to be talking to the camera, to be doing these live streams. Like if no one showed up to these, I would just be talking to an echo chamber. But I really do appreciate all the engagement that I see from you guys. And I do this a lot as a trading journal and also for the community. And so you guys are my community right here. And you guys have been talking a lot about Ondas. Norris, I believe it was you who originally mentioned Ondas to me. This is a defense company and they have a lot of drone technology, and their next quarterly is expected to be their largest quarterly ever. A massive expectation here. Their last quarterly, the revenue came in at 10 million, and the next quarterly, the revenue expectations are at 27 million. So a massive quarterly expected for Ondas. Their next EPS is expected to be around the same, but a ton of revenue with Ondas. What I will say about such a big quarterly like this, it reminds me of Quantum's quarterly when they did have massive expectations here back in Q1 of 2025. And this was really when the super hyper bullish momentum started with QBTS, when we went from the single digit range to the double digit range. Oh, I'm blocking it out there, but when we started to really see that bullish momentum. So it's always great when a company does come out with a great quarterly. And if we are talking about the macros currently, a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the air right now with the Iran war and everything that is going on. So right now, Ondas is looking bullish. Their next quarterly is going to be here very soon. It's going to be in 12 days. It's going to come in the morning. So similar to QBTS2, when we got that hyper bullish momentum, one of the greatest returns I ever saw was with the options market and with QBTS. They came out with that great quarterly, and then the stock did report earnings in the morning, and we saw a massive explosion throughout the day. Guys, I got to take care of something just really quick. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to share, what we were talking about earlier here in the live stream. We're going to share a little bit of this vlog just to show what this channel may be looking like in the future. I'm going to share this really quick, guys. I'm going to take myself off of camera, but stick around. This is just a commercial break. I will be back here in just a couple minutes, guys. So I hope you enjoy this vlog. If you've never seen it, give me just a moment, everyone. Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. And this commenter right here says that us financial YouTubers don't get outside of the box. So That's exactly what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be heading down to Washington, D.C. for DJT and the inauguration. But before that, we got to get ourselves a healthy breakfast to start the day.
Welcome to McDonald's. We'll be using your mobile app today.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And now we're officially headed to the Phoenix airport. And here I have my driver coming. The driver is right there. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for taking us. I appreciate the ride today. So this is the future of AI right here, and a lot about what I talk about on my channel is DJT and AI, and this is a perfect example of how these technologies can be used to improve and better our lives. Right here, we don't even have a driver in the car, so this is a completely driverless car. It is being 100% driven by AI. Thank you so much for the ride. That was perfect.
I like my suitcase.
So what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just studying. Next stop, Philadelphia. We're here in Philadelphia, and it is a cold day, but it's an even colder day in America as the TikTok ban looks like it has officially went through. And I really don't understand why America has done this. I think this is very unconstitutional, and if anything, it's just going to cost America more of their GDP, as a lot of Americans earn a lot of money from TikTok. But honestly, what's it matter if the average Joe gets CCP content on his timeline anyway? It's not like he's going to do anything with it. A world without TikTok. What am I going to do now? Washington, D.C., here we come. And we have made it to Washington, D.C., and it is cold out here. Being from Phoenix, I'm not used to this. This is chilly. It is day 2, and we have a lot to do. We are in downtown, so we're about to see all the attractions. And our first stop here in Washington, D.C. is the Lincoln Memorial. So we have Abraham Lincoln in there right now. So a lot of my friends on the internet told me this statue was a lot smaller than it really is. But you know Abraham's famous quote, "You can't believe everything you see on the internet." I hear that Abraham Lincoln was a very honest and integral man. Apparently, he had went all the way to the bank when a woman was short on just a penny at the grocery store. I think of myself a little bit like Abraham Lincoln, as I just gave $1 at the gas station the other day. And DC is so cold right now that typically this leading up to the Washington Monument is normally water, but as we can see, it is completely iced over. This thing is frozen. Of course, not everybody is a MAGA Republican. We have a few Democrats right here. Here's one, and there's another Democrat right there. A whole row of Democrats. So behind us, we have the National Monument. It stands at 555 feet tall. And just like little Uzi Vert says, he is 5'5", but when he stands up on his money, he is 6'6". So if I were to stand up on top of that, I'd be 561 feet tall. With this being not just the capital of the United States, but the capital of the world, this is where all the big events happen, all the big decisions, all the money that gets sent to Israel, and more. So now we're going to see the biggest center of all of DC, where everything goes down. Capital right there. Can I get a picture with you? All right. Great, man. Thank you. Thank you. Great. Well, thank you so much. Well, and there we have the Capitol. It is closed off right now because we have the inauguration coming Monday, so they have all the big fences over, but still a cool thing to see regardless. Wow. What a sight. So I hope you guys are enjoying this thus far. I just wanted to pause it at this moment because this was so funny. This was a great time, by the way, doing this live stream. So again, I plan on doing so many more live vlogs. If you guys enjoyed this vlog, please let me know in the comment section, in the live chat. If you want me to run the rest of this video, if you haven't seen it, we still have 8 more minutes. It's packed with a ton of more information here. But I just remember at this part, it was so funny because I'm like, wow, what a view. And there was this massive fence that was like blocking off everything. So right during that inauguration, there was a lot that we weren't actually able to get to. Norris, welcoming Two Wheels to the live stream. Two Wheels, yes, thank you. Welcome to you as well, Norris. Hi, Norris. Every Friday, stocks usually drop after 2 p.m. Eastern time. You know, in general, the markets recently have been having a lot of drops on Friday. Fridays are a big day with low liquidity, and then also just a lot of hedging, a lot of shorting, a lot of stocks not quite reaching where those major levels of gamma exposure is. We talked about that in the first like 20 minutes of the live stream. So as always with these live streams, the way we do it is the first 20 minutes is, you know, all about the daily talk of stock, what we just saw in the stock market. And then after that, we free it up a little bit, get more interactive with the chat, just kind of do some BSing. So if you want to see more about what I was saying, Norris, yeah, take a look at the very beginning, because I believe what is happening a lot on Fridays is just the dealers, those who have the main options contracts, everything like that. The dealers don't want to have to pay out. So the more contracts that expire worthless, that is considered max pain. Great for all that are dealing those contracts. Trump needs to say to Jerome Powell, "You're fired." LOL, Jerome looks miserable. You know, it was funny. In one of our live streams, like a couple live streams ago, I think it was like 2 ago, we went over another clip I have where we reacted to when President Trump visited Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve at the construction site, at the federal building, at the Federal Reserve building. And he looked so miserable. He had such an angry look on his face. It was so funny. Hi, Ollie. Thank you for being here. Thank you again. Benjamin Graham, I thank you for remembering this vlog. Yeah, this was so long ago. This was last January. You know, I plan on doing so many more vlogs. I'm just so busy outside of this channel operating my business. That's what I was just getting to a second ago when we started to run this clip. I just had to take care of some business things, but I really do plan on being a full-time trader here in the very near future, and also doing a ton of vlogs going all over the United States to other things, you know, events like this, such as the inauguration, also the Bitcoin conference, and a ton of other things. I just want to bring the camera with me. I love all of you who are here. This is a dream come true. I love going live. And so to everybody who is here, I appreciate the support. And Benjamin, I appreciate you also watching this vlog in the past. Let's go Extreme Fear. Bye. We are in that level. This is great. Thank you, Norris. I'm going to continue this clip in a second. Just getting to the chat here. Okay, that car freaks me out. I would have to see the car. I was gone a second ago when this was running. It was probably one of those big military cars, though. Oh, the car, the Waymo car. Yeah, again, AI technology. It's so crazy. Those Waymos, you know, they don't even actually have a driver in them. Obama stands for one big ass mistake, America. That is so funny. It looks like Benjamin Graham likes that. Yes, Two Wheels. Thanks to him, Islam is everywhere. And hey, we got a super chat. Mr. Benjamin Graham sending us $2 here. Thank you so much for the super chat, Benjamin. I do appreciate it. Benjamin says, how many women have you been with? Well, it's funny. With the vlog that we are watching, this was actually my last girlfriend who was recording this. So she was my cameraman with this. that's such a funny comment, by the way. Anybody, if you ever have any questions like this and you send it in a super chat, I would love to be able to answer anything. So if you have any questions such as Benjamin Graham has here, or anything else, if you ask it in a super chat, I will gladly answer it. When it comes to how many women I have been with, you know, Benjamin, the count is a bit over 10, and I'm proud to say I've been with the entire ethnicity circle. So every single race of women, I've explored it all. It's been a ton of fun. I am blessed myself. I have had a great life, to have my business, to have met a ton of different women, to have been with every race. It is quite the life, and I have had a ton of fun. So thank you for your comment here, Benjamin. Yeah, I need to get another girlfriend because I plan on doing many more vlogs. One of those vlogs when I go out to Vegas later this year and I meet my good friend from the United Kingdom, Martin, out in Las Vegas. So I'm going to need to get another girlfriend by then to start to record my vlogs again. And yes, strength to America. Let's go. The Lord of Swords, thanks again for being here. Trevor needs a girlfriend. I agree, Norris. We do, because I need to have another cameraman for these vlogs once again. And then this is great. Please do. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I like that you guys are liking this vlog so far. I will be quiet now. I'm going to let this run right here. Jeremy, thank you for joining us here in the chat. I'm going to let another 4 or 5 minutes of this vlog run, and then I will get back to your question here of Meta versus Google, Jeremy. So stay in the chat. I'm going to get to our next commercial break, and we're going to finish this video right here. But it looks like Norris likes Google. So anyway, guys, we're going to run the vlog again, and I'll see you all in just a second. Hey, buddy. Hey. Peanut, no, don't go. The iconic 1700 Pennsylvania Avenue. The next stop from here is the White House. And behind me, we have the White House, but we have security all around this place. So there's actually no way to really get a good shot, but this is the White House.
And no one's getting any closer, right?
I know. It's unfortunate.
Okay.
Whew, I'm pretty hungry. You want to get a healthy lunch real quick? Something for all this walking we've done? And we're going to be trying the Chicken Big Mac today. Golden fries. Oh, always so good. Gosh. I don't care how many ingredients are in there. They say there's like 9 ingredients. Well, RFK is going to change that. So no worries there. And we got our Chicken Big Mac. This is my first try of the Chicken Big Mac. Let's see how it goes. Oh my God. That slaps. This is why this is a 5 out of 5 restaurant right here. 5 stars all day. It is day 3. You guys are so funny. You're cracking me up here in the super chat. I love this right here. Nora saying you're super tall. Hey, I'm not, I meet the benchmark, right? 6 foot. I'm just right at 6 foot. So blessed to be here at 6 foot. McDonald's is delicious. RFK is a nut. And I just had a thought here on this question right here, Meta versus Google. I just want to say, taking away technical analysis, taking away the fundamentals, just all of it. If I really had to pick between one of these two, both are in the Mag 7. So both great companies, great long-term holds. I would have to say, though, if I do just have to pick between one or the other, I am going with Google because Google dominates the internet right now. We are on Google. YouTube is owned by Google. And just like we saw earlier with the self-driving cars, those are from Waymo, which is also Google. So Google holds a large portion of the internet. Basically no one searches on anything but Google. No one goes to Bing or Yahoo search. Like 90%, 99% of people use Google. We have Google ads with all these different businesses. And so I believe that Google is, one of the strongest players. And even Warren Buffett, who isn't always in technology, he recently was known to invest into Google. But then when it comes to Meta, they also do hold a large portion of the internet, including content. And what's very interesting, if we're just talking about the value of content, because there is a ton of value to being a content creator, right? we have the Meta glasses, and just like we're looking at with this vlog right here, you know, Meta glasses, there's so much content coming out with that. Facebook is huge. Instagram is massive. Instagram has exploded these last years. Again, my other YouTube channel that I have that I don't talk about on here, I do all the different social media platforms. So I do YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. I plan on doing all of that here in the near future for Green Money Momentum. And again, we are just at the very early stages of this YouTube channel. So many more vlogs coming out here in the future. I'm going to continue this vlog, and then I'll get back to the live chat. So we'll let this run for just a second long. In DC, and we are bullish on BTC. And we are here at the National Space and Air Museum because it looks like Donald Trump is going to be sending Bitcoin to the moon. And destination to the moon, that's where Bitcoin's going next. To the moon. To the moon. Let's go. So this was Bitcoin when it was created. Bitcoin at 3,000, Bitcoin at 10,000, Bitcoin at 50,000, and Bitcoin all the way at the moon up to 1 million. You see, they don't want to show the lunar module here because it looks like a crack shelter. They don't want to really expose the truth to Americans that we never went to the moon. But Bitcoin will be the first time we really go to the moon. So I would love to hear everyone's opinions in the comments section below. Do you think NASA really went to the moon, or do you think it was just a hoax? And I really do want to know what you guys think. So let me know in the live chat. Do you think NASA really went to the moon back in 1969, or was it just a hoax? You know, I'll be 100% honest. This is why I don't really look at companies like Rocket Lab or all these different space companies, because space itself may be a big fugazi. We really don't know what NASA and Elon Musk are doing out with his space company, and even Blue Origin. You know, the recent footage that we saw with Amazon's Blue Origin and Katy Perry was sus as hell. You know, it's so hard to know when it comes to space travel what's real or not, because I do feel that we were lied to the government back in 1969. And just like I was saying here in the video, if you do look at here, let me get off of this for a second. Let's take a look here at the lunar module, because the lunar module is yeah, if you look at how poorly that was built, it really does pose a lot of questions on what is really happening when it comes to the government. So looks like we got some that agree here. Two Wheels Pursuit also agrees that it is a hoax. And then Norris says hoax. Let's go. 2 out of 2 agreements. Yeah, let's go take a look here at the lunar module. What apparently went out in 1969, right? It's kind of crazy that this was passed off to Americans, especially when you think about, you know, the fact that like the president was doing a phone call, and you know, this was so long ago, right? And it was so long ago that they did this, and they haven't been back to the moon since. But look at how actually poorly built this looks. It's like you got some foil right here. How did this thing right here fit a cart in there? They had a golf cart on the moon, which is crazy too, because if you think about like the stuff that they apparently did on the moon, like think about how dangerous it would be to have these guys actually in a mobile vehicle, right? The rover or whatever it was. I mean, that right there, guys, that looks terrible. I mean, God, the quality of that, I don't know. And then you apparently have the radiation belt out in space. You got to get there, you got to get back. And then, you know, how did they fit a whole cart in here and everything else they fit in here? And it's just crazy because, again, you think about if they are on a cart, and then what if they hit a rock on the moon and then they go flying and they risk themselves having their moon suit popped? AOC said we could land on the sun. Oof, better have a suit that could really handle the heat there. The only space NASA is concerned with is the space between our ears. Yeah, NASA, what does NASA stand for? What does the actual acronym stand for? Not a space agency. Let's go. And then we got here the chat in the past here from Norris. You need to get a dog like Felix and Friends, the YouTuber. You know, I really do love animals. I grew up with animals. I had cats growing up. I had dogs growing up. Animals are so pure. They bring so much joy joy to life. But I am planning on doing a lot more traveling and doing a lot more here in the future. And I just wouldn't want to have the commitment of a dog around or to have people have to take care of my dog. I may be doing some moving in the near future. So I'm not really sure exactly what my future holds, but what I do know is I want to continue to do Green Money Momentum and continue to do these live streams with all of you, but start to really expand, get out of the normal office where I have been for a lot of this last year. And then, can you be an LLC in trading? Yeah, absolutely. And it's not a bad idea to do that. You could write off some expenses, your laptop, anything you may need for trading if you're going to buy any trading courses. And then also, if you are going to have an LLC, I don't personally sell anything on this channel, but for many different individuals, they are kind of like their own business, selling courses, selling live day trading platforms, the YouTube super chats. And so it is always a smart idea to have an LLC. My business that I run outside of this channel is an S Corp, so a small corporation, and I do get some tax benefits from that. So it's always a great idea to get properly structured. And then, okay, so we've been through all the chats here. We are going to let this video finish here. So let me go back to where I could have the audio for you guys. We'll let this finish, and then after that, we are likely going to be finishing the stream just shortly after. But I thank everybody for being here. We have had a great turnout once again. We have been live for an hour, and we have 12 here in the live chat. So I'm so happy that you guys are entertained and that you are spending your time with us. I really do appreciate that. And then thanks, buddy, for the feedback. Keep your mega optimism. We all need big time. Yeah, recently, the markets have been making many feel pessimistic, but I feel so optimistic, so thankful, so happy. I am living the dream right now. It is the dream to come on here on YouTube and to have a live audience that wants to listen to me talk, because I could talk for 24 hours straight, especially around the stock market. And so to have an audience that wants to listen to me and wants to talk back and forth with me, I appreciate every single one of you guys for being here. This is truly a dream come true again. And when it comes to optimism, yeah, I believe in always having a positive attitude. We all go through different things in our life that may make us feel negative at times. Each one of us have a hard life in different ways, right? But I am so thankful for what I have, and I can't feel more blessed for this YouTube channel to have all 10 of my fingers, all 10 of my toes, and to have the hair on my head. So with that, guys, we're going to let this run here. We got on this vlog, we got another 5 minutes, and then I'll see you guys right after this vlog ends here. There has been one factor that has kept all cryptos and a lot of plays down in the last couple years, and that's this awful place called the Securities and Exchange Commission. So this is Gary Gensler's last day in office. We're going to pay him a visit right now. So it looks like Gary Gensler is not in the office today. He didn't want to get a visit from me, but that's okay, because tomorrow's his last day. As when Trump gets inaugurated, he's officially done with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Get out of here, Gary. It is official. TikTok is back. Woo! oh, that's a good one.
Hey. Hey.
Oh.
Hello. Hey, are you listening?
Huh? And I just want to say this is crazy, as I've never seen so much security ever in my life. There has been so many military members and a ton of police as well. We are now headed to the Trump rally that is going to be down at the Capital One Arena. They moved the inauguration and a lot of other events inside because it is so cold. And as you can see, the snow is starting to pick up. So right now it's just a little bit of rain, maybe a little bit of hail. But next, we should start seeing some crazy snowfall down here in D.C. So we have officially made it now to Capital One Arena, where the Trump rally is going on. And you can see that the line here is crazy. So the support for Donald Trump is off the charts. Everybody wants to be here. So we sat out here for about 4.5 hours. I did my best to get into Capital One Arena, but it is absolutely packed in there. The capacity is only 20,000. We have way more people sitting out here in line. As we know, the early bird gets the worm and the early investor makes the most return on investment. And we were just sadly a little bit late today. So even though I came all the way to Washington, D.C. for all the events, sadly, I am going to have to watch this just like everyone else at home. But either way, let's go Trump. It's crazy. Apparently, there was people camping out at like 7, 8 a.m. today. So with how many people were waiting on this event, sadly, we just weren't one who got it. And that concludes our Sunday. So the next time we're going to see you guys will be for the inauguration. So it is day 4 out here in D.C., but it is actually day 1 of the Trump presidency. Let's go, baby.
Donald Trump's estate in Florida. Was Donald Trump a good president?
Fuck yeah!
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
let's go, Trump!
I'll give you $1 for that. I'll give you $1. I wasn't going to hand out $1 for that one, but I like his energy so much, I couldn't help it, all right?
We made $3.
Let's go! USA! 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 This is the best Trump supporter right here.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, pup. Oh, you're so cute. Oh. I want a dog so bad. I have such dog fever. We are here at the big event, so you can see the support out here for Trump is absolutely crazy. Even though the weather kind of shut down the big National Mall viewing that we normally see, we still have so many supporters out here. Let's go DJT.
Do you ever feel any sweat breaking through?
A little bit. I do a lot of morning cardio, so after that morning cardio, yeah, we'll break through a little bit.
Like right now, do you think you got any sweat, any odor?
Possibly a little bit, yeah. Luckily, there's a lot of people around, so you can't smell me, but there's probably a little bit.
Should I smell his armpit or no? Actually, doesn't smell too bad. No.
That smells presidential. Nice. Finally, we're getting Joe Biden out of office, so Donald Trump. And real quick, I just want to break up on this to say that is the kid. This is how much of a YouTube legend I am, everybody. And this is why this is only the beginning of Green Money Momentum, because the energy flows within. I was born a YouTuber. I started making YouTube videos back when I was like 8 years old. And as a kid, I was really into the WWE. And so I'd make videos all about the WWE. And that's why I just love to try to be entertaining, to be a showman, to have fun. And so if you guys recognize who that is next to me, gosh, I can't think of his name right now, but he was the one that broke open the whole Somalia thing. What was that? What is this guy's name right here? But he's a famous YouTuber in himself. The Somalia daycare's out in Minnesota. What is this guy's name? If anyone knows his name, yes, Nick, but Nick what? Nick Shirley, is that what it is? Nick Shirley. So there you go, guys. I got some clout. I stood next to a guy with 1.72 million followers. And so this is just the beginning of Green Money Momentum. But look at that right there. You got Nick Shirley. And then the last guy, he also owned like a deodorant company. But here, I'll just go back on this clip. I'll let this finish out. But I just wanted to say that. It's the Learning Center, and then go get them. So, yeah, we'll let this finish out. There's only like a minute longer to this vlog, but there you go. Nick Shirley, and that was all the way back in January, so before he even really got famous. I think when I originally found him, he only had like 500,000 subs at the time, so he has made quite the progress as a YouTuber himself. Nice. Finally, we're getting Joe Biden out of office, so Donald Trump is about to grab him by the neck and throw him back out into the streets of D.C., baby. Trump is taking his spot at the White House, so Joe Biden's going to have to find somewhere new to live.
Donald J. Trump, the golden age of America is upon us.
USA! 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 USA!
Donald Trump is your president. And if you like it or not, keep that energy you had with Barack, because you know this Trump train.
All right. So how'd you guys like that? right there. Let me know in the chat if you'd like to see some more vlogs, if you have any ideas of where you'd like to see a vlog. I plan on going out to the Bitcoin conference sometime in the future. I'm going out in Vegas later this year to meet my friend from the United Kingdom, Martin. And Martin is a very influential individual. This guy right here basically lives out in a castle out in the United Kingdom. He's always sending me some cool pictures of what he's doing, all his travel, everything like that. And so that will be a fun vlog, going to the Bitcoin conference at some point, and just so many different events. You know, there's like the Orlando Money Show that happens every single summer. And so again, like, I know I say this all the time, and I almost feel like sometimes I'm like a broken record with how much I say it. But guys, I am extremely passionate about YouTube. When it comes to feeling alive and loving what I do, I love nothing more than doing green money momentum, than making videos, than doing these live streams, than having awesome adventures, doing fun things, bringing the camera with me, showing excitement, just being a investor who gets out there and does it. When it comes to what I have done with green money momentum thus far, I have put a decent amount of effort into this. I mean, I make my daily videos, I make my weekly videos, everything like that, but there could be so much more effort. And I just know eventually we're going to have a lot more investors into this. And another goal with mine here on these live streams that I have been doing, and just the channel in general, I do love the stock market. I do love to talk about the stock market, but I also like to talk about things such as the moon landing, or conspiracies, or just other thoughts, or psychology, or life, you know, just being genuine, really connecting with all of you. So there's a lot I plan on doing with this channel. I just need to really get locked in and really grow this thing. So all of you that are here, all of you supporting the channel, showing engagement in the chat, if you're hitting the like button, if you've subscribed, or even if you're just watching today, right? All of you contribute to the success of this channel. And, you know, I have a lot of goals with this channel, mainly just be fun entertainment, provide some education, and keep everything free for the viewers. You know, a lot of people, and I'm not putting them down when I say this, but they'll have trading courses. They want you to sign up for all these different things. You know, I feel that my trading performance is good enough, and that's why I focus on it so much, to be able to do all this, you know, take constant profits out of the market, be able to perform well. And I know there's a lot of money with the business side of all of this, but I'm really just trying to get my performance down to that euphoric Midas touch level. And so, yeah, for all of you, again, not trying to sound like a broken record, but I appreciate all the support that you guys are showing here. Do need to meet Will Rich. Yes, I like Will Rich. Norris, you know what's funny? When I first started on this YouTube channel, I'll be honest, I think Will Rich unfortunately did block my YouTube channel. Even though I like Will Rich, I'm not saying anything against this guy. He is a great YouTuber. This guy is extremely intelligent. You know, YouTube shout out to Will Rich. But when I first started on YouTube, I'd go to his videos, dealing with money, all these different YouTubers, some of who are on the side here, and I was always trying to promote my videos. And I've noticed before on Will's stuff, I do seem to be hidden. So go over to Will, go over to the comments section and say to unblock green money momentum from your comment section. But yeah, Will is very inspirational with everything he is doing. He goes to many of these investor conferences, and he was one of the inspirations for me to start my channel. You know, I was watching him, I was watching Dylan with Money, Anthony Pompliano, a ton of other different YouTubers, just watching financial videos every single day. And that's what really got me kicked up on my path and really got me started. And Will Rich, he does travel a lot. I forget where he's at the last time I was watching his videos, but he was out in like Argentina or something like that. So yeah, Will is definitely the man. Trump is supposed to release the UGO, the UFO files. Yeah, you know, we'll just have to see when it comes to the mainstream media and when it comes to politics and everything like that. You just never know. Again, you saw my support for Trump here at the inauguration in the video I just showed. I have always liked Donald Trump because he is funny to me. Again, I was a WWE fan growing up, so I thought he was really entertaining when he fought Vince McMahon. That was hilarious. The battle of the billionaires, everything like that. He's a true entertainer. I mean, if you think about who he was before he was the president, you know, he was on a lot of different shows, a true entertainer, everything like that. And sorry, I just got a text here. So, oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. Oh, with Donald Trump, just an entertainer, everything like that. And so when I went to DC, you know, I had fun, and I'm a big fan of Donald Trump for being an entertainer, but also Donald Trump is a salesman, and Donald Trump can be a liar at times. Funny enough, he was just saying that the Iran war is already over. It's not over. And so when it does come to politics, you know, although on this channel I have leaned more towards Trump than anything else, you know, I always like to keep my own opinion. Just like with stocks, I'm always speculative of everything. So I do like DJT, but at the same time, you know, all in thoughts, you know. UFO, LOL, and ice, baby, ice, baby. All right, guys. Well, this has been a great time. Let me just respond to this text right here, and then I will start to head off here. I'm going to have to leave here. Looks like friend will be over here in about 20 minutes. And so I'm about to sign off here in just a couple minutes. But I would say this was another successful live stream. We had a lot of fun. Once again, we discussed not only what is happening in the markets right now, the bloody markets that we saw today, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. We have seen the S&P drop again. We've seen the volatility index rising. We are in levels of extreme fear right now. When we do look at where a lot of different stocks and the major indexes are, we were talking about how the dealers have been keeping them suppressed, a lot of contracts expiring worthless. We talked about why that is. That is gamma exposure. To everybody watching this, I really recommend going out there and getting as much knowledge as you can about the options market. A great book I really recommend, because the options market can really help you to understand the overall stock market, even if you're not investing into options. Just understanding options, understanding the expiries and how that all works can, you know, really help you to also understand movements in the markets. I recommend this book right here, which is Options as a Strategic Investment. So we did talk about the dealers and what they are doing. And then we also talked about the economic calendar a bit. You know, next Wednesday, just be warned that we do have the FOMC interest rate decision. We have Mr. Jerome Powell coming out and most likely disappointing the markets, as he typically does. And we are not expecting a rate cut right now, a less than 1% projection that the Fed does cut. We also did have GDP numbers today, so we went a little bit over the numbers. They didn't come out the best. We talked about a ton of different individual stocks. Again, the earnings calendar is really getting loaded up in March, April, May. And that should also be a very exciting time for the markets. We also talked about the moon landing, and this is what got us kicked off about it, is the moon cycles, and some invest from the moon cycles. We went over the videos, everything like that, guys. It was a great live stream overall. I'm going to start closing some tabs here. So if you guys have anything left to say in the chat on the side, let me know. Let me know if there's anything you want to talk about. If you have any questions, anything, whatever it is, stock market, personal life, psychology, thoughts, just anything, please let me know. And don't forget your deodorant. Yeah, that guy, he was with Carpe. So let me type in this. This is a shout out to that guy from earlier, Carpe. So this is the clone right here. So actually a pretty big business. I believe that guy was like the owner or the CEO. But yeah, he does a ton of these videos where he just goes out and interviews people. And he actually gave me a free one of his like deodorant sticks. And honestly, I liked that the ingredients in this were actually a bit healthier. So this is not a paid sponsorship, but like legit, this was actually a decently nice stick of deodorant. So shout out to that fella right there. And that is why I want to do more of these vlogs, these kind of like IRL vlogs, to say where I go out there and I do like what I did with Washington, D.C., because it's like, it's so much fun. You meet so many people. And I had no idea when those people were interviewing me that they were even influencers. It was funny. There was another guy who interviewed me, and I didn't throw him in on my video, but I'm sure I might be somewhere there out there on the internet. And there were a ton of interactions. But guys, I'm so passionate about doing this YouTube. Again, I've been doing YouTube since I was a kid, and I'm very passionate about the stock market. And I just think there's a ton of great content still out there. And so with everyone, all the support you have shown me, again, this is really helping me and helping this channel grow while we are still at the early stage. And someone asked about Meta versus Google earlier. Oh yeah, Lord of Swords. You know what? I will pull that up just really quick. I thank you for saying that. Yes, let me just pull up a quick comparison between the two. I was talking a little bit earlier in the vlog. If you caught it, I did talk about how when it comes to actual just real world, you know, I personally would choose Google. That is not looking at the financial statements or anything like like that. I got a phone call coming in, so we're not. Sorry, guys. I'm going to have to get off here in just a second. Let's just take a look here at Google. Technical analysis. We'll just do a quick technical analysis here. Give me just a second. So quick TA here. Google, this is Alphabet A. Right now, slightly under the 50-day moving average, but looking great on the relative strength index. Looking like we could be seeing a bullish cross on the MACD. Let's take a quick look here at Meta Platforms. Currently at 612. Meta has been on an ascension path most recently, but right now they are descending a bit on the relative strength index and on the MACD. It does look like we could get more of a drop off with Meta. I'm happy you've mentioned this though, because I do like Meta and what they are doing with advanced micro devices, recently striking up a deal. But both of these companies right here are in the Mag 7. Both are tremendous companies for the long term. But personally, I do see more value in Google with what they are doing with Waymo, with how much of the internet they own, Google Ads, and then also YouTube. YouTube is a part of Google, but also, Meta has a lot of real value in it, and they also own a lot of the internet and the social platforms, especially Instagram. Facebook owns Meta, I should say, owns both Facebook and Instagram, and I think Instagram is like the most massive platform currently right now, and then Google all the way. And yeah, I would lean Google too. Well, hey, we all had similar thoughts there, guys. A very successful live stream once again, and the next time we are going to be going live is going to be this upcoming Sunday, 30 minutes before the overnight session starts for this Sunday. So if you guys want to see me live again, please check me out this Sunday. That's going to be on the 15th. Otherwise, guys, this is the end of the live today. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you all in Sunday's live stream. Everybody have a great day.